You are now listening to the High and Dry Draft Podcast with Isaac Keller. Please enjoy the show.
Here we go.
Hello, welcome to the High and Dry Draft Pod. I'm Isaac Keller, your host, and I'm so thrilled today to be joined by PD Webb at Above the Break 3 on Twitter. He also does a lot of really great, amazing long breakdowns on Patreon. They're all free to go look at. I just read the Alexei Pokachevsky one. He'll be a future draft pod topic. He's insane Serbian 7-foot player. You should go read it right now. PD's breakdowns are really great because not only are these detailed, focused evaluations that go deep on all the available like stats and film. I think there's like this one's almost 50 pages. There are a ton of clips, but it's also like funny and interesting the whole way through. It's literally subtitled Alexei Pokachevsky, Kings, Constellations, Conspiracies, and Ceilings. And if that doesn't like get you excited as a draft nerd, I don't know what will. Because I feel like generally, like the more you get into people that are writing these huge, long breakdowns, in general, there are more people that are Jonathan Gavonis rather than Mike Schmitz in terms of charisma and whatnot. And I think PD hits all the marks. So thrilled to have you on.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I figured that if I was going to go really deep into like the technical and schematic ideas of basketball, I could at least give people a couple good laughs. And if it means embedding a joke that I like, 15 pages into something, I think that that's fun. And I also think that like basketball is fun, and a lot of people who work in the field of basketball, whether it be part-time or full-time as a announcer or a scout, like don't enjoy basketball enough. And it's because they, don't have jokes about farts in the middle of their scouting breakdowns.
Definitely. So kind of on this note, I'm going to start off with kind of a curveball rather than like the standard, how'd you get into the draft, which we will get to. But I was like, sitting around in anticipation of doing this pod, and I listened to one that you did with Rob Shaw, where you tease a Patreon thing that you just came out with, where you talk about a really great defensive lineup made up of Pokemon for basketball. So I was really high listening to this last night, and I was like making my own team, like, setting it all up. So I'm going to throw my like party of 6 Pokemon / starting 5 and a 6th man at you, and we'll let you flex your basketball knowledge to all my listeners who probably aren't as deep in draft Twitter as I am.
Okay, let's do it.
So just kind of the like thing that sparked like the team building idea while I was going on it, was I was thinking about like just, I don't know, I like making like weird, dumb connections. And I was thinking about like the Pokemon that you have while you're going through the games that like does all the dirty work. Like who's the Draymond? So I was thinking about the Pokemon that you just like set aside at the back of the party and use as your HM slave. Like the one that can surf, cut, strength. And like you only use them for those because you don't want to waste those moves on your like actual strong Pokemon. So at 1-8, I have Lanoon at starting point guard. We're going like full Airbud. I know in your Patreon post you say like you need arms and digits, but we're going full Badger. Pure defensive point guard. Is going to definitely get all the fouls going around like biting, scratching people. Can't really handle the ball or do anything, but we've got...
Is smaller than the ball. It's a bit of an issue.
But, it's not what they're there for. So at guard, actually handling the ball and stuff, I've got Blaziken and Flygon because they do have hands, although they are kind of T-Rex arms for both of them. But I think the mobility...
Oh, see, I have a disagreement with... I think Blaziken has a huge wingspan.
Really?
After looking at it seems pretty big. I mean, it's a flying chicken who can kick, right?
For sure.
Okay. So that's a bird-like wingspan, which is something that people always do when they anthropomorphize people's wingspan in the draft. So I'd say like a +5-ish.
Okay, but I think also like the stance and like martial arts like upbringing of Blaziken kind of limits it to these weird like choppy, like I feel like an elbow is always like creased almost because of those chicken like tendencies.
But we also have the world's strongest legs. And that's the point that I came back to, is it has a 300-foot vertical. which is important.
Definitely.
Probably alters the space of basketball. Make the case for Flygon for me.
So Flygon looks like it has pretty dexterous fingers. Like it definitely looks like it could like palm a ball, run around, dribble, while it's flying, which is mobility. I'm really curious about that. Especially while Blaziken is jumping up in the air, has that that vertical spacing, we'll call it.
Yeah, you're definitely referee ambitious. You're here to challenge the rules, and I really like that for you.
Definitely. That's kind of how I've played like through intramural and like dumb stuff like that. I stopped trying very early on because I don't have that competitive edge, but I love playing basketball and like doing dumb shit with it. Next, one of my favorite Pokemon, I've got Slowking, who is a Sterling 6'7", apparently, with the little crown. So he's kind of going to be our Joe Ingles type. He's smart, psychic type. He can talk in one of the movies, which is dope.
That's
I always
big.
love
I mean,
that.
communication, very important.
Yeah, and like, he's always in the right place, right time. Water type. He's got the 3. He's got the wet ball. Yeah, so he's kind of like our like in between 3-4 man. And then at center, I've got Aerodactyl, another one of my favorites from when I was a kid. Only 4'11", but is a pterodactyl. I think bird-like wingspan will really come into play there. Kind of thinking like a young Serge Ibaka, maybe even like, because he's so undersized at 4'11", maybe even like a Sean Marion. Can pop to like elbow extended, rim run with anyone. And then off the bench, I've got Ludicolo, who is probably my favorite Pokemon.
Okay, how big is Ludicolo?
Ludicolo is 4'11", but it has an ability that speeds up when it's in the rain. So I'm like, oh, like you're sliding down a slope, you put in the 6th man. He comes in, he does all these weird things because he's like water and grass, which is like a goofy combination of the starter types. I don't know. I just like Ludicolo. I also think like him being in a sombrero and being that chemistry teammate as the 6th man is going to be big because he's reacting to every play. He's a big presence.
Yeah, he definitely has a keep the team together kind of vibe. Can we talk about Lickitung? Because it's
make the case for Lickitung. It's a terrifying, especially the Detective Pikachu visual that you.
That's what really did it for me. So Kevin Rice, I posted a screen cap of just like some 4-foot tall Pokemon. Kevin Rice responded like, Lickitung needs to be on your team. And I was like, he's 3'11". Like we need to relax. He doesn't have fingers. It's like one sort of Play-Doh like shape for arms, tiny little baby arms. Tongue is 6'6". So that's like a 9. That's like between a 9'9" and a 10-foot flat standing reach, which would be the largest in the world. He puts a paralytic on the ball. It's awful all around. I mean, it would definitely a game changer. That's the nicest way of putting it.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely go look at PD's Patreon. Subscribe. It's worth like $5 a month or whatever to get Lickitung basketball content for sure. So let's go backtrack here a little bit. How did you get into doing the draft? What like drew you to the draft? Was there like a guy, or were you like, I'm a Wolves fan, so we were in the lottery forever. That got me there. I also like grew up playing AAU and like following the other guys as they were like, oh, this guy's like going to go D1. And I like played against him when I was a 6th grader or like things like that. What got you there?
So I've always been draft minded even as like a little kid. Like I would watch the like late 2nd round picks. I had to watch the draft as like the whole experience. And I grew up being a really big football fan where the draft is like essential because late round picks can be valuable. And there's 7 rounds. So it just sort of led me towards the idea that like young players and the development of young players are interesting. And as my own, playing career ended and my relationship to basketball changed, the draft was a pathway of both staying involved in something that was pretty under considered up until about 3 years ago.
So when you first got into it, what was like your first big draft that you like started doing research for?
2009 probably.
Right on. That's probably just when I started, like, as a middle schooler, me and my friends were like, ooh, Anthony Davis and like Derrick Rose. Uh, Started getting into like Ball is Life and stuff like that. And that kind of really bolstered up my addiction, I guess. Uh, do you have any guys that like you were so sure were gonna hit and miss that like stay memorable for you, or any guys that like you had as a sleeper really early before everyone else and were like, this is my guy forever?
I could not have been told that Brandon Jennings was going to be not the greatest point guard of his generation. Seeing Brandon Jennings like live as a sophomore in high school, his sophomore year, not mine, was one of those experiences. It's like, oh, this is what they look like. This is like, it was written in the stars. And life did not quite turn out that way. I will always say that his career would have gone differently if he had gone to a different place or the Achilles injury had been rehabbed slightly differently. But yeah, Brandon Jennings is probably the one for me.
I was big on the Brandon Jennings before the Achilles thing in Detroit because that was looking really fun. And I was like a Drummond over AD guy. That was my first big horrible, like, I'm just getting into the draft and anybody that's skinny is Anthony Randolph now thing.
Another player that I absolutely loved and would, obviously has carved out a great career for himself in Europe and Lithuania. But Anthony Randolph today is a much, much different player.
Definitely. Yeah. No, he was on the Real team with Luka and stuff, and he's been like kind of a fixture there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go into the prospect that we're going to be talking about on this episode today. Killian Hayes. Do you want to give us a little overview of Killian Hayes?
Yeah. So Killian Hayes is a big point guard from France. His dad is an American who played overseas. So Killian is actually born in Florida. So he sort of brings this American by way of France way of playing. You see a lot of things where you're like, watching him, you can't quite tell where he's from. And then you will walk through a pick and roll and you're like, okay, that's a European kid. He's an on-ball creator, but not necessarily 100% an on-ball creator. He could be used as a secondary or even tertiary as long as he has enough playmaking reps. Really wonderful handle. Has consistently putting grown men on his ass for at least 3 or 4 years now. Interesting developmental pathway as a guy who, wasn't super athletic at 14, 15, 16. And then in the last 3 years has really exploded in terms of his ability to finish over and through people. About as left-handed as you'll find a single human being, which is something that sticks out and needs to be remedied. But I would say easily one of the 5 most interesting prospects in this draft and somebody that has the potential to change a franchise.
Definitely. And draft Twitter is really big on Killian Hayes. I think Kevin O'Connor was the first like big like outlet name that had him at number 1, but draft Twitter had a few guys like floating him around there for quite some time. The Wolves, who I'm a fan of, and probably a fair amount of listeners are fans of, we have the number 1 pick. It's not looking like he's probably going to be an option there for a lot of NBA teams, at least at this point before workouts and stuff, if the draft ever actually happens.
December.
Yeah, sure. So that'll be interesting to see. But if he were, or Gershaus was to pull some magic and trade back and orchestrate something, what can you talk about the fit potentially on the Wolves?
So it's interesting because the most common comparison you'll hear for Killian is D'Angelo Russell. I don't think that's a particularly apt comparison. I mean, comparisons in general are bad. But I think that there is most certainly a fit with the Wolves. At 1, there's not a intense structural difference between selecting him 1 and selecting him 4 in this draft, since most of this draft is player development and fit. As a big guard who can take some usage off D'Angelo Russell and would have a great pick and pop chemistry with Cat, like there's a utility to having Killian. I don't know if that's going to be like the sexy pick or the pick that people are infatuated with, but it's like a solid process to just get as many 6'5" plus ball handlers as you can to put them around a generational shooter and then watch things slowly figure out.
Yeah, because I'm a big LaMelo guy in general, but I feel like Killian's right there. If Rosas is gonna take Killian, I'm gonna trust Rosas there and go with Killian. Uh, and I think they both are. I feel like they've got similar things. Tell me on the like differences between them or what that role for them on the Wolves would be.
So the question is, how much of a primary guard do you believe D'Angelo Russell to be? If you believe that D'Angelo is best 30% on ball, you should take LaMelo, because LaMelo is pretty much a tried and true primary, who's going to need the ball in his hands as much as possible to make as many decisions as possible, because Melo is sort of an otherworldly decision maker, not necessarily for good. He makes some otherworldly poor decisions, but he sees things before they happen. Sometimes that's more possible futures than actual futures, but that's the evaluation of D'Angelo. If you think that D'Angelo is more of a primary, as somebody who will develop that kind of feel, who can run an offense and just needs infrastructure, then you take Killian, because Killian's statistically a little bit better shooter. He has more indicators that he will shoot it at a high level, mostly the free throw percentage, and just a history of growth without the intense physical problems that LaMelo has. On defense, they're both kind of washes. They're solid, but you're not drafting either one of them to be a major component to a good defense.
Definitely. Yeah. So kind of on that. Where do I want to go with this? I feel like D'Angelo Russell was a more popular comp for Killian. I feel like he's had this big progression lift, and even just the like second half of the season that he had in Germany. Can you kind of speak to like the athletic and like defensive improvements that he's made there? Because I feel like we saw a lot of like slower. Like one of the first times I remember seeing him, wasn't he the guy that lit up the like U16 USA team?
Yeah.
And he was like really
lit
great
up
there.
is sort of a little bit of a, like, he did well. I just watched that game recently. He did go 1 for 6 from 3.
Okay.
But like as much as you can light somebody up while being down 30 and going 1 for 6 from 3, like he looked like one of the better prospects in a game that basically had 7 first rounders in it.
Yeah, and he like looked a step slower than everyone at that point. Like he was in a different athletic class, but was still getting to his spots.
Yeah, it's the way that I've described it. I saw Killian when he was the equivalent of a high school freshman. He played in the Jordan Brand game in downtown Brooklyn, and he looked like every stereotype about Euro guards you'll ever see. Like, you're like, this dude is slower than the tide, but he still gets here. How does it's the high level understanding of the game, but not necessarily the tools to make it happen against extremely high level of talent. He developed his lower body is like the most important thing. There's still issues to be had. Like, he's still really leg light, and he has poor ankle mobility. So when you watch some of his blow-bys, it sort of looks like a Hanna-Barbera animation where the feet don't move. His ankle is just locked as he's blowing by people, which is great because it tells you that he's still functional athlete, but that there's untapped physical potential as the Wolves, the Pistons, the Bulls get him with a physio staff who is the best that money can buy and can start to loosen those ankles up.
Definitely. So kind of on that, you say he's not. I feel like I've seen you say he's not a great defender. I feel like I've seen some draft people start to amp that like athletic boost, that lower body development, as seeing him as sort of like a Delon Wright type of defender. How do you feel about that?
So I always hedge by saying that like guard defenders are generally irrelevant. Like, it's important to a team schematic, but in terms of just being a guard defender, like, that's a really, really hard bar to clear. Like, Chris Dunn is one of the 5 best on-ball guard defenders in the world, and it doesn't truly matter. Where if you have one of the 5 best wing defenders in the world, like, now you're going to win some games just off that. So I think that Killian's sort of in this gap where he's going to be a good schematic defender. He's going to be a solid on-ball defender in time, but he's not going to defend wings because he's not strong enough. So it's one of those cases where he's going to be a good defender, but I don't think that's it. entirely meaningful for winning, but it's going to be meaningful for team construction.
Definitely. And like he's not going to be like the first guy that teams are like going out of their way to hunt because he's like 6'5" and like has the like instincts and whatnot.
Yeah, and he makes good reads. He looks like a teenager a lot playing against grown men because that's what he was. And I think that the right type of mistakes are generally what I look for from teenagers playing professionally, and not just looking around, looking lost, and hoping for the possession to end so they get the ball back in their hand. He doesn't have the most elite defensive instincts, I would say, that would like make his tools, which are solid but not incredible, like more valuable. But I don't see a world where he's like an out and out bad defender.
For sure. I'm gonna throw out some like kind of goofy comps, kind of in that vein of Delon, right? So is he like? I feel like if the shooting doesn't pan out the way, he's kind of like DeJounte Murray with a green light on offense a little bit. Is there anything there?
I mean, he doesn't quite have the wiggle of DeJounte. Like DeJounte's thing before like the defense really, really picked up was that he could get by people, like DeJounte the prospect. And Killian doesn't quite have that. When the gun to my head comparison that I made was like the middle evolution between D'Angelo Russell and Goran Dragic. Where he sort of has the Goran thing where he has the ability to get by people, but it's never super slick. It's a lot of stop and start. You could also say if Mason Jones was skinny is another like interesting, because he uses his body a lot. I mean, it's not meaningful in the way that like Mason or even like at the highest level Luka is, but it's the idea that like you create physicality and then snatch back and get somebody going a different direction.
Like Sean Livingston with a 3-ball.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Sean Livingston before the injuries because that's
a little
maybe
different. But like more post.
Yeah, post injuries is tough because like there's so much that was there before that just isn't there. And this is why like for me it's the movement style that I try to find first. Like you can find players that like are approximately as good, but like guys with the stop and start athleticism that Killian has who are also big is pretty rare. It's not,
so like somewhere between Shea and Satoransky.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the world that we're in, where these big guys who can get separation. Like he's not made out of plastic like Shea is, where Shea can just sort of mold himself into weird spaces and lengthen out. But there's moments of Killian where you see like this really advanced technicality that Satoransky had. So I think that you're definitely in the right world.
Yeah, I love those big combo guards that can like play any of the guard spots, can come off the bench and fill in for either guy, can start at either spot in a pinch.
I just wish that Satoransky played for a coach who loved him as much as like casual viewers did. Because every single person who like watches a Thomas Satoransky game, like going back, to his pre-draft, just like I would use. Oh, this guy's so he's so versatile, and then every coach is just like, yeah, we don't know what we're getting from him every night. It's like that's the point of versatile people. It's a thin spread across a number of statistical categories, but coaches always love the guy who can give you 12 points every single night.
Fantasy basketball god. So the sort of middle section of the pod, now that we've like gotten a solid overview of Killian, we'll come back to him in a second. I already recorded a little section with my like first legit like traveling team that I played on like 5th grade. We like went to state, a bunch of people that were like in that program or like D1 or whatever. So that was really fun. We just like reminisced there. You've been like scouting. I assume played as a kid growing up. Do you have any like favorite youth basketball, like tall tales, or just like favorite parts of like AAU tournaments, the types of people that show up there, anything like that? We can go on that for a bit.
So my favorite thing that happens in AAU is the big kids birth certificate. This happens a lot, like when you get to like higher levels of like not higher.
Like we saw that kid leave in a car.
Yes. Like when you get to, what will eventually be the shoe circuit teams, that like 7th, 8th grade window, you have, the reclass stuff and you have teams that are trying to get funding, so they need to win. And nobody except AAU parents will just like blindly say things that like are probably unkind to like a 12-year-old, especially when that 12-year-old is like 6'7" and guarantees you a win. And so there's always a parent with that birth certificate on hand. Like sometimes it's laminated because they've done this so many times. It's like, no, he's 12, I swear. And it's always just a hilarious dynamic because it doesn't matter what document you produce. You could like produce like a U.S. Census taker who's like, I testified this child is 12. After that game, if the other team loses, those parents will just be like, if that kid wasn't 37 years old, we would have won the game. Yeah, I mean, I think the other AAU thing is parents who tape games. That's a thing, especially with like GoPros. It's always from the worst angle. It's always it's like low level games. They're never gonna cut it. They just like show it. It's always the parent who loves to yell, and that you can't. As a person who's done had to do film for teams and just had to tape things before, you can't be a participant and a supervisor at the same time. So the film is crazy while the dad is yelling at the ref.
Do you have like favorite things that you've overheard while watching like copious amounts of like film? Because I know like that's a whole like subsection of things you guys like will trade on Twitter and be like, yeah, but the game footage here you can like gets blocked by somebody standing up for the last like 2 minutes or things like that.
So I generally like listen to podcasts or books on tape or music when I'm scouting, except for this one DMV based video service who puts full games on, but he's always talking to people like while he's taping the games. And it is one of the best sources of information because he's always talking to like UIBL people or UAA people. And you just get like a very background feel to like what's happening. And so like I don't have to Google anybody or anything during these games. He's like, oh yeah, this kid, I think he got offered by Creighton, but I don't think it's a real offer. I think that they're just trying to, do the footsteps. I don't think it's real. And I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks. I think that if I have to take AAU stories, I saw Renardo Sidney as a sophomore in high school. And it was the moment where I really learned I wasn't going to be in the NBA. It was between my freshman and sophomore year of high school, and I walked into a gym at 9 a.m. And it was the style of gyms where the entrance is underneath the basket. And as I walked in, Renardo Sidney caught a post lob, took one dribble, brought it all the way back to tap his numbers for a back scratcher, banged it, and then slapped glass. And that was when my coach told me that we played him if we won in this playoff game.
Oh, God.
He was the number one kid in the country at that time. He finished that game with like some ridiculous stat line. Like he probably had 35 with like 6 threes. He was 6'11". Just and like one of the greatest what if players ever. A player who like probably peaked in 8th grade in terms of like skill and focus and all the things that can go wrong when people have other interests over a kid's well-being. Proceeded to lose the game before playing Renardo Sidney in what would have been like a
business decision.
It wasn't even that. We were up like 12-0 on this LA team, and then one of my teammates got absolutely fucking dunked on, and it turned the tide of the game. Just one of those like truly evil moments. I was guarding a kid. He went to like a semi post up. He threw a bounce pass, and I was like, oh, we're going to smoke this team. I'm already thinking about Sydney. I'm like, this is going to be a game where like we really perform. He threw this bounce pass to a cutter, and I turned my head, and like as I turned my head, I like caught at the bottom of my vision this kid's shoes.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, that's weird. And I turned my head, and I'm 6 feet away from the rim. And as I'm turning, the kid's going by me, and he cranked it on my teammate, and then I think the team went on like an 18-0 run, and it was pretty much over after that. No Sydney. I didn't get dunked on. I wasn't even close, but that was the moment my life turned away from being an NBA player, when my teammate got fucking banged on.
Yeah, no, that's real. I think I had that kind of like coming to Jesus moment. I talked on the first episode of the pod about De La Salle High School, this kind of like perennial, they like won state like 4 years in a row while I was in school there. I was in school in Minnesota. And I went to the camps every summer, like with the players and stuff. So like Royce White was a counselor one year, like things like that. And Reed Travis was 1 year older than us, and he had like been in the camp a few years. And then I come back like seventh grade summer or something, and I'm like looking around and I don't see Reed, and he's like obviously one of the big guys there. His older brothers were sick and played there. And my friend's like, oh yeah, he's lifting with varsity. And then like when it comes around at the end, like the first day, we're like playing one-on-one, like king of the court at the end. And then Reed jumps in somebody's basket, and I like see him. He's like up at the top of the key. He's like huge buff, like probably in 8th grade now, but just like a monster. Like takes a jab step, takes another, just like shoulders the kid like James Harden, like all the way into the bleachers basically, and like walks it to the basket for a layup. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to play varsity, like, you know?
Yeah, I think that people who are less like attuned to grassroots think that like high school stories are the ones you want, and that's absolutely not true. You need to get the story of the summer between 7th and 8th grade, because that's when a lot of kids reclass. That's when like the real separator for like kids who are going to be good in college and kids who are like on the pro track really emerges. And some of the most hideously stacked teams I've ever seen are just like teams that are full of future 8th graders, like the team that had Scotty Lewis, Brian Antoine, Cole Anthony, and there's another name I'm missing. And just like absolutely like a lineup of kids who were pros. And there were a bunch of kids who thought that it was sweet and that they were nice. And I'm sure that they left the next day and were like, so what do you do with math? Welcome to playing EYBL and things like that, where you're going to get your feelings hurt.
For real. Yeah. And LA is just like another animal with youth basketball stuff. Like Minnesota is kind of having its little like renaissance here now. We're finally having its day in the sun a little bit with like slam poster boys, Jalen Suggs and Chet Holmgren. But
yeah, I think that a lot of places have taken the LA player development model and the top-down attention that the shoe companies have done and have applied it, and it's really created a lot of really vibrant scenes in terms of the way that you develop youth basketball players. And getting everybody to play everybody is the best thing you can do to develop young guys.
Definitely. You have any final thoughts on AAU or other like random memories?
I don't think that it's a specific memory, but I was once playing in a game where a kid was going to go up for a layup and got hit in the face and then started crying. This is a 17U game. He got hit in the face and he started crying, and he like curled up into a ball kind of, where he doubled over. He like didn't go onto his on his knees, but he's standing up and sort of like doubled over. And everybody stops, and as we like start to like back away to look at the coach, he goes and finishes the layup.
Yo, that's
there was about 3.5 seconds, and his team was down like 30. Like it was an ass whooping, and this kid went with the fake cry up and under.
Dude, that's one of my favorite things I've ever heard, I think.
So like the mechanics of it was he got hit and he like pulled down and he like, he like really milked, like he didn't go immediately into the ball. It was a slow process. That's why I like bought it. And like, it was a clear foul. Ref didn't call it. And so the first reaction is like, you look at the ref and you look at the kid's hurt. Then you look back at the ref, then you look at the coach. And by the time you're looking back at the coach, he hits the finish. Yeah, I think we poured it on them after that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've absolutely got to. But also, like, I have so much respect for that kid. You have no idea. I tell a story on the first pod about, like, our horrible middle school Catholic League team and how we would pester our coach every year to run this play called Dead Man. And, like, point guard takes the ball over, yells Dead Man. Everybody else on the floor just falls down and is like, whatever, people are freaking out, you run in for a layup and do it. Did not work when we finally got to run it in 8th grade because our point guard was like too excited and picked up the dribble. But I did successfully run it in intramurals, and I have a video of it that I'll post when I do my intramural video. And it's like that's the kind of shit that I love. Like just playing, just having fun, doing every little thing.
So the last story that I have is one of coaching. Like, you know, when you're getting back into basketball, you kind of have to accept some jobs that are not always great. Whether it be like it's like doing camp instruction or like, you know, working for like, you know, fancy high schools that'll pay, because almost nobody does. Like basketball is a really weird wage structure until you get to a higher level. And I was working at like twice a week at like a religious school, and we went to play an away game, and the other team got pizza before the game. Like they were at their layup lines, and the team stopped layup lines to get pizza. And the ref went and got some too, and we weren't allowed to have it. One of the rims was a foot lower than the other.
At the pizza game.
At the pizza game. The rules were changed during the game so that the clock didn't move within 2 minutes when you were in the backcourt. And we lost.
I mean, they were fueled for the game.
So yeah, the 5-minute pizza intermission was really a moment where I was like, so I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like basketball, like I might be done. I took the bus home after that and just stared at the ground and was just like, this is the lowest I've ever been.
It's like, where do you even find refs? Like at that point, you're just like asking people if they know what basketball is, and they're like, I'll take $10 to do this.
I guess. I mean, this was extremely tough stuff.
For sure. Well, I'm glad you've come out on the other side at some point and now are living to discuss Pokemon on podcasts. So I'm going to put us on a little detour here so we can continue the AAU talk. Instead of PD, I'm going to bring on 3 pals from like my first basketball traveling team ever. And yeah, so if you're just here for Killian stuff, I'll put a timestamp for when we get back to that with PD. If not, enjoy. I guess get started here, just respect y'all's time, get going, talking about Southside. This is going to be a goofy thing because I'm going to edit in the draft guy that I talked to before and after this. But yeah, so what you guys, thank you all for coming on to the High and Dry Draft podcast. We got Evan Shepard, Nick Knighton, and Tommy Bayer here, 3 members of the illustrious Southside Minneapolis traveling basketball team that got second in Minnesota State, and we were young 5th graders.
We did get second in state. That's right. I forgot about that.
Good about that.
Dude, I did too.
Bro,
I
told people for 10 years, I was like, yeah, bro, I'm top 5 in the state. Like, I was like, up until I was probably 18 years old, I was like, yeah, I'm top 5.
Absolutely.
I was like, and whose ranking is that? Oh, the fifth grade. Since 5th grade, I've been top 5, bro.
But dude, you were killing it. Enunciation League. Who's the teams in that? Who are the teams in that league?
The biggest one was Carondelet.
And that's where me and Nick went. So like me and Tom, I say this on the episode after this because we do a park board episode. But
oh, you do?
Tommy's kind of like my basketball nemesis. Like,
yeah,
because like I never played on Southside, especially our 5th grade year. Because like me and Tommy were both like super short, super small, and Tommy was just like a little bit more aggressive and like just straight up better at basketball than me.
But Isaac, Eli Brimacombe, I forget how you pronounce his last name. He was my nemesis on Carondelet because he was always a little better than me and like my same size and everything, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's weird. Yeah, he was like my like, oh, I fucking hate because he just had such a good jump shot, you know?
Especially because, like, you're in Catholic League and, like, you know you're one of the best players because you played traveling before, like, just by
Exactly,
virtue of it.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
just the air of confidence that you have, and there's another kid that, like, knows how to play basketball. You're like, fuck that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, bro, I know so many more ball handling drills than you, okay? We're not on the same. I can do the spider.
Kind of on, like, a
thing.
dumb thing from that. I remember, I think this was a 4th grade game. It was, like, one of my first years playing traveling basketball. I saw, Tommy, you and your dad were, like, relacing your shoes in between games, like, retightening them up all the way. And I was like, bro, my shoes
That's next level.
So I, like, went off into, like, one of the hallways somewhere and, like, tied my shoes real tight, scored, like, 8 points the next game, and, like, thought I was Dwayne Wade.
You, like, look down at your shoes and you're like, damn, I got to relace my Skechers glow in the darks really quick. You're like, damn, I should relace my Skechers. You know, people don't talk about how Isaac hooped in Skechers for 10 years.
Did you really?
In Skechers?
No, that's a joke. I'm completely joking.
I did in, like,
the thing is,
grade.
I would have believed it.
sold
Though.
that.
You could have
You sold
convinced me
that,
for sure. You could have convinced me 100%.
Because the reason I bought that is because in, like, 7th grade, when Nike ID was a really big thing, I bought, like, the ugliest pair of, like, Barkley-looking shoes that had, like, straps over them, and I, like, customized the shit out of them. They look like somebody, like, puked on them.
Yo,
you
just reminded me. I used to wear, remember Marberries?
Yes,
Yeah.
I had Marberries.
Bro, Marberries costed $15. They costed $15. I don't know if you remember that, but that's what. Yeah, you could go to the store, get a brand new pair of and they lasted for 2 months. They were the shittiest. They were like the shittiest shoes. But, like, I was rocking Marberries because my dad was, like, trying to save money, and they cost like $15.
And they, like, looked pretty good for, like they looked better than, like, the Adidas, like, team shoes or whatever, like, weirdo, like, Dwight Howard
looked
stuff
good,
people
but
were wearing.
Yeah, they looked good, but they were a bad shoe, though. They tore quickly. I don't know if you remember. I remember going through a pair of Marberries.
And Shaq shoes are the only shoes at Marshall's.
Right, exactly. It was the only shoes at Marshall's. Every, like, 3 months, my dad would be like, all right, we're going to Marshall's. We're getting some Marberries. And I'm like, let's fucking go.
They did the trick.
Yeah. Damn.
Also, just kind of on the note of us, like, getting second in state, I have a really distinct memory of some dude I think we played a team called Team Elite. And there was a dude that was wearing jean shorts under his
jean shorts under his
the
shorts.
State final game, and he was nasty.
I remember that.
Oh,
so
okay.
He was the
first of
closest
all,
person to dunking on that team.
Wait, what was that?
He was
Evan?
so good.
Yeah, Evan, what?
I feel like I know who that was.
Just throw it out there,
jean
man.
Shorts under.
Name names.
He was taller than all the rest of us.
Remember.
He was like almost dunking. Maybe he did dunk at one point.
I feel like he slapped backward on some layups for sure.
All I'm saying is to have the confidence to wear jean shorts and then basketball shorts over it. I mean, you're already the best player on the court. Like, nobody who's just average is going to pull that shit off. You know what I mean? You got to be so cold to pull that shit off. Yeah.
Also, the basketball shorts were long enough already. And his shit were coming below the basketball shorts that are already at the knees.
Oh my God!
Like baggy shorts.
That was someone. They were like, no, like, who didn't come to play, who didn't come to the gym to play that day. And he was like,
that must have been.
Yeah.
Y'all in the finals?
and won the state championship in jean shorts.
Dude, I remember, like, in 5th grade, like, being so small and, like, everyone's so much bigger than I, and just like my jersey being so baggy on me because like I just like couldn't fit, and so I was like wearing shorts and just a jersey that was just like so baggy. I weighed like 40 pounds, you know.
And you had the smallest one. You had the smallest one we had.
Yeah, and they gave me the smallest one. God damn.
Dude, those jerseys were big. I literally wore those Southside shorts like through high school. Like they started to fit me like in 9th grade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they just started to fit. They just started to fit me now, actually. Like last week, they just fit. Yeah.
Hey.
Yo, Rapid. Those are comfy.
Oh man.
Damn, I completely forgot. Dude, I completely forgot we got second in state that year.
No, I did too. That was
I
a great
completely
year.
forgot.
That was a
We had like a
great year.
cold. You guys were cold.
Who else? Who
Yeah,
else?
you and Mo,
We
Adrian.
have Mo.
Adrian.
Isaiah
we
Sims.
We had
Isaiah.
Sims.
Isaiah Sims was cold as fuck.
Isaiah was on the team.
He was
Wait,
so good.
Bro, Evan, who was that other guy? He was like the big man on our team, and he was also on our Pearl Park football team. And he hit that. Remember,
Kalen Starkey.
Kalen Starkey.
Oh, he was
Hit-
huge.
He was cold. He was cold.
Yeah, Starkey.
Oh, he moved to Chicago.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he was good too, man. Who else did we have?
He was.
My like go-to story for like dudes that I played with when I was good, when I was young and like we're just so good now. Me and Nick used to go to these boot camps at Lyndhurst on Friday night that some dude named Bradford would run. And one night, Amir Coffey was there when we were in 5th grade, and he was in 4th grade. And we like did this big like workout with this dude. And then at the end of it, Amir played Nick and I, who were a year older than him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amir only uses his offhand, plays us 2-on-1, and I think we lost like 11-2 or something.
Handily. He beat us handily with his offhand.
Oh, he was so
Like double
nasty.
team.
It's so crazy
wild.
because back in the day we're just like, oh yeah, like Amir's going to the league. He's so cold. And like you say that about a bunch of kids who are really cold, you know what I mean?
Right.
But he
Right.
did it. It blows
No.
my mind. Like I just watched a
And
clip
you
of him.
knew.
He had a nasty dunk just like a few nights ago, and I was like, damn, this guy did it. Good for him. That rocks, you know?
Dude, yeah, bro. You can see it the whole way. He only played his grade level a couple times, and it was in high school, and he had 40 points.
Yeah.
Like that was the only time like in his life he played it.
But
like,
dude,
his
Evan,
grade level.
do you remember before you like got your because you had like multiple injuries like your senior year of high school, but there was like a couple months where you were like getting 40 points. It was either senior or junior year of high school, but
it was
like
junior year.
it was junior because that's when you were like because like you lost a lot of your jumps, you know, because you could like jump out the gym for a little bit junior year.
Yeah.
And there was like this 2-month span where you were like eating, and I was like, "Damn, dude, Evan is putting in some serious work." Like you were like a junior dropping like 40 points in games too. So that's pretty. Yeah,
man, it was so fun. I mean, it was a lot easier too, junior year too, because just around the team with a guy like Jeff running around,
right?
Just as fast as can be, drawing all types of attention and stuff. But yeah, I was really feeling it, and that's when North got really good, and that's when
I know North had like those
True.
they were like I think they were like freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
Or like they could have been 5th graders. I don't know. They were like 5th graders, and they were 12 years old, and they were dunking.
There was a 7th grader, and that was their big guy.
Yeah, dude. I feel like yeah.
Good.
Oh shit. Sorry. Hold on. I feel like Jeff was like your Rodman.
Oh man, Jeff. I mean, there was no one that could guard Jeff because
I know
you're not as fast as him, and you're not as strong as him, and you're not.
Yeah.
Like a combination of either to handle him. It's too much.
Dude, a lot of people we hooped with like and Southside really turned out to be like great hoopers. It's really a cool thing.
Everyone from you can tell, like when someone said they play Southside, just because you can tell they have like a really good feel for the game. At least they're really good team players. They're really good. Yeah, just teammates. Really good basketball players. Their IQ. There's I don't know. Smart players have gone through Southside. Joe Coleman is a player that went through Southside. If you've heard of Joe Coleman. Royce
didn't Jake Wright I think was on the grade above us.
Jake Wright.
Jake Wright that dude was cold.
James Lawson.
James Lawson.
For a while.
Bro, Keon. Okay, Keon was my favorite player to play with, bro. He would he could just pull up at the three. He barely moved up and down the court, but he would just hit shots, man. It fucking rocked.
Did you tell? Was that with us or was it with Urban Stars when when Keon would like shoot a three and then like limp down on defense?
No, that was
like,
Urban Stars. That's when I was playing you guys because I left Southside to go Urban Stars, and I took Keon with me, rightfully so. I was like Keon, we're getting the hell out of here. They're not treating us fairly, and he was like, they're treating us just fine. I'm like, let's go. We're going to Urban Stars right now, man. We gotta get out of here. Yeah, it was. We played you guys when I was on Urban Stars, and yeah, he was just like, would just hit a three and not get back on defense, and I'd be so mad.
Oh man, yeah. Well, okay, wait. Someone else. I had the picture. Well, Kevin Gleason played. You guys know
Kevin,
that.
yeah.
Was on the whole time.
I think Mo went to Penn and played there, didn't he? Did he end up
No,
playing
he
at
didn't
Penn?
play.
He just went there?
He
Okay.
didn't play. He went there.
But he was like varsity doing shit at Brack.
Oh,
They had a
yeah.
pretty
Do
good
you remember
team.
Mo's dad? Mo's dad was my
dad.
favorite.
Mo's dad.
Mo's dad was.
Mo's dad was named
This is
Mo.
Mo's dad. That's my,
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I forgot that.
Mo's dad was
He was
putting
the
in work
coolest.
in the stands.
Oh,
He was
Absolutely.
putting in work
Absolutely the loudest.
as an audience member.
He was
Absolutely.
a teammate. He was a part of it. He was as much of in the
Yes.
game as we were.
Bro, remember
After every
TJ's?
game,
Remember
he'd
TJ's
come
mom?
over.
Dude, TJ's parents were like like the heroes of that team because I remember it was the coolest thing that after practice sometimes we could just like hang around and throw Coach Brown alley oops, and it was just like the
That's
coolest.
right.
He was.
Like Coach
Oh
Brown.
my God.
Yeah,
He was like Adrian Peterson.
he was like Adrian Peterson. Dude, I remember getting so pissed off because I'd play him one-on-one at practice, and he would just keep blocking my shots, and then I would just quit. I'd be like, this is bullshit, and then I would just like, you suck, and then just like leave.
And then
Tommy,
TJ's
you were
mom would
feisty.
make the cookies at the end of
Tommy
all.
was a feisty. Tommy.
Oh, yeah, I was a
Tommy,
feisty.
I remember
That was Tommy's
you had mad emotion. I remember you were like the fight symbol. Like, definitely one of the most competitive people.
Oh man,
that
dude,
you
I
just-
mean, yeah, I'm still competitive, dude. I would like cry. I would fight. I would like, you
Yeah.
know,
you
I was
would.
just like,
you would.
I was just like, dude, I was just like an intense little fucking kid.
Yeah, dude, you were fiery as fuck.
Yeah, it's so.
He wasn't
Yeah,
friends with me. He wasn't friends with me on the court. Tommy was
No, I wasn't.
Remember, bro, when we played Southside Urban Stars? Like, I tried to shake your hand, bro. You weren't having it.
Dude, I'm saying,
Dude,
Dude, that's why-
Wow.
I'd watch like the Last Dance and just like the pettiness Jordan had, and I was like, I completely feel him. Like in retrospect, looking back on it, it's just like, oh, it's really dumb to like do that stuff. But dude, like the pettiness that I'll have like on the court, it's so
Heat of the
ridiculous
moment.
and stupid. But yeah, it's just a heat of the moment thing.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So facts. It's so true.
Absolutely. One of my favorite pregame rituals.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I just loved watching Evan like get past the basketball from one of the coaches and then hit like 23 threes in a row in motion, and the coach would be like, keep going, and then we'll get the basketball, like pass it back out to Evan like 10 minutes before the game would go. And I remember I'd just be like on the bench watching and be like, yo, like that, like he's so good. Like I tried to do that shit, I hit like maybe 3 out of 20. And I was just always so amazed. I was just like, damn, like we play with such good basketball players. And
Evan was the first kid that I was friends with that could hit like threes, like lights out. He was like a lights out shooter, like at Pearl Park.
Yeah.
Because we met at like Pearl Park, like the Pearl Park stomping grounds, you know, like fourth grade-ish, fourth grade. And you were like the first kid, like the first like fourth, third grader even who could like hit threes consistently. It fucking blew my mind.
Yeah, I remember there was a game where maybe Evan was like off for like once and whatever, and the like ref came over to our coach and was like, "Hey, like that kid's taking a lot of threes. Like, should I like say something? Because like, you know, we're in 5th grade, like kids don't really make threes like that. And Coach was like, no, they go in. Don't worry about it.
Well,
And I was like, you had that green light as a 5th grader? Like,
well, Evan was also the same in football too, because like when we played like, you know, middle school football, like most quarterbacks, like, because I played quarterback in 6th grade and I threw like maybe a handful of passes the whole year, you know, just because like it's to be in the pocket and throw a pass. It's so intense when you're just like a small child, you know what I mean? But Evan could be like in 7th, 8th grade and he could throw like 20-yard, 30-yard passes, just like boom, 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 like in the pocket. I was like, man, this guy's killing it over here.
Well, at the same time too, my dad ran Pearl, so I had a stacked team every year. Like, it was like one year I had Isaiah and Jericho as my wide receivers, and Kevin, and just really good players usually. Just like really fast, really tall, really somebody like Jeffrey.
Oh my God!
What, 6? He was like my height.
Jeffrey was 6'9" when he was 10 years old.
I literally just toss it up.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. Dude, yeah, that was.
Do you guys remember going on like did you guys ever go to like hotels? I know Evan, you did, but Nick and Isaac, did you guys do like hotels when you were traveling?
I feel like we didn't play competitively long enough for that. I think like probably 8th grade we did the like silliest thing that we did close to that is we had like a Crondelet team that would like play tournaments sometimes like out of season just like to do it because it was like all of our friends. And there was a lock-in the night before that all the like Crondelet people did. We like went to this like community center for like $50 and stay up all night, like play games and shit.
Oh, no, wow.
So we like did one of those. And then we all went to this tournament the next morning, like hit McDonald's on the way there, like drove out to Anoka and like played it on no sleep.
Awesome. Oh my God,
Also,
that's
like,
another thing.
Those tournaments were crazy. They're always like out in the middle of like, so like when you're in 5th grade and playing traveling basketball in Minnesota, you like wake up at Saturday, like 5 a.m. You drive like an hour out to like some weirdo,
a long drive,
like suburb,
a long drive.
And then you see like, you see this like college campus basically in the distance, like these huge high schools that have like windows all the way to the floor, like huge, super nice shit. And then you play like, they even had like super Saturday things where you played like 4 or 5 games in a day and like finished the tournament that Saturday.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's, you realize quickly that like public education isn't like equal all around, because it's like, oh, Washburn is literally the size of 2 houses. And then you go to Anoka and their elementary school is bigger than the University of Minnesota, you know? It's like incredible. Do you guys remember being at tournaments? Like, sorry,
they just have like the brackets, and I remember always going at lunch or something, and you'd see who you get paired with. You know what I mean? So it was like active, like you won, and like you see Southside going up like the winners ladder. Like, oh shit, like who's gonna be next? Like, have you seen them play? It was all in one day. I remember.
I remember looking at those brackets.
So
I remember looking at those brackets, and it's like Southside versus like the Anoka Warriors, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill these idiots. Like I remember,
absolutely.
I'm gonna fucking murder these fools. Like
and
they don't
just see like has they played the team we played, how they do.
Right.
You're watching them. You're like, I got
you
that
get the
kid.
scouting report.
Right.
I'm trying to
just literally just catch them on like they're like walking by a gym. You're like, oh, that's them. Just watch.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks.
No chance. On your way to like go play tip in the hallway, like.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How many like trophy cases and like other like random shit like that you think got broken by kids like playing tip in hallways at those tournaments?
Bro, playing tip in the hallway was huge.
Many.
Do you guys remember in between games, like you'd finish your game and then you would go get like a chili cheese dog and eat it in 2 seconds and chug a Gatorade, like 3 Gatorades, and then you're like, all right, I'm ready to play 3 more games. Like that's like the most unhealthy shit. And your parents were just like, yeah, that's great. Go eat 5 hot dogs, you know?
Like the one dad that
would in a bag.
The one dad that would walk with you guys to the SLP McDonald's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There were always tournaments there. The McDonald's is right there.
Yes.
There's always one dad that's like,
Yes.
all right, I got 8 boys coming with me. We're going to go fuck up
Yes,
this
the
McDonald's.
bag.
Yeah, I was like always so pissed when my dad was just like, "No, we don't have money for McDonald's," which is insane to think about now because it's like you don't have $3. Go to hell,
Right,
okay?
you can't go to the
Gotta-
you can't go to the dollar menu.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, we don't have $4. Shut up, okay? This
Or-
is bullshit.
Or we got food at home.
Yeah, we got food at home.
Mm.
We,
Like,
no,
we're
we
not gonna be
don't.
home first.
Yeah.
It's the whole day.
Oh man.
Oh, my
You
God.
guys ever gone to the wrong high school or middle school and just like
Yeah.
you try to look for your court and then you're just
Bro, I was so pissed. The whole team was so pissed when you did that because, like,
I did
if
that
I
so
did that,
many
or
Yeah,
if
we
Nick
all
did that, or if
knew.
Isaac did that,
Whatever.
it's okay. We'll start the
Whatever.
game.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but we all
like-
knew when Evan wasn't there.
But like, if Evan wasn't there, everyone's like super tense, and it's just like,
fuck,
all right,
like,
Tommy.
all right.
It's like, all right, you're starting, and I'm like, I can't do this. You can't put this pressure on me. It's like, Isaac, you're at point guard, and Isaac's like, what the fuck?
I'm like, dude, me and TJ were just chilling at the end of the bench, man. You don't got to do this. Like,
Yeah, it's like,
DJ.
yeah.
Oh,
I have a really
man.
throwing it back to the state tournament game here just for a second while I'm thinking about it. Nick actually would get some time sometimes because you like played football and were aggressive and like fast as
Oh,
hell.
yeah.
Nick was like the fastest
That's
dude at
right.
our school.
Just only on
But Nick
defense.
couldn't do
Work for it.
anything on offense. And I remember once in the state
Absolutely
tournament
not.
game, while I'm like watching attentively from the bench because that's what I did.
Right.
Team Elite was like trapping us super hard. Like 1-3-1 or something. 1-3-1 was the big scary one when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're like,
Mm,
third one, third
yeah.
one, 3-1.
Because it's
Right.
like,
They
it
meet
feels,
you in half court.
it feels like the whole court is being taken. Like
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
But so somebody like broke a trap and like passed it to Nick in the corner, and Nick was like, I can't get trapped, and you were like behind one of the volleyball lines behind the 3-point line, and you threw up this shot in the state tournament, and coach immediately was like, no. He was like offense defensing you and Adrian before, I think, but then you like
Yeah.
threw that up and he was like, nah.
Is that
Well, you'd
Adrian?
send Nick in.
Is that
You'd send
Adrian's
Nick in
dad?
when you need a stop. You
Exactly.
Right, and then
Like,
take
it's like,
me out
all
when we got
right,
the ball back.
Yeah, and it's like, timeout. Get his ass out of there.
Yeah, Adrian and I were doing. Adrian would come off, like he'd get on the offensive position, get out, and then I'll come for the defensive position, and we'd just be going back and forth that way. He's just so much taller than everyone else.
Yeah.
He's so good at rebounding and just like working in the
Right.
paint.
Luke was on the team, right?
Luke.
Parker
Luke,
or no?
I played on an Urban Stars team
Mm.
with Luke Parker like a year or two later, but I
Oh,
don't
a
think
year
he was
or
on
two
this
later.
team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, when I met Luke, I thought he was gonna be like a 6'6", like unstoppable force in sports, and then he just stayed the same height in 5th grade that he is now. And I was like, oh,
hey, when that
okay.
happens, just hit.
Yeah, but he's got bars now.
He does got bars.
man.
That is facts.
Right.
My man can
Right.
spit.
But he was so fast on his feet. He was like man. He was really.
He could move.
Like 5th grade Zion, just like huge and like
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Man, I remember those games being so intense.
Which one?
Just like all those like those playoffs games and like, you know, like state tournaments and stuff like that. I remember them just being like,
because it was that Armstrong, like you were either at Armstrong or somewhere else. Weren't they at Armstrong?
I think, yeah, Armstrong sounds super.
I feel like the
I feel
Colin Powell Center also had like a ton
Yep,
of
it was
Yeah.
Armstrong and Colin Powell.
Colin Powell Center.
Evan State.
That's
Yeah.
where the state.
State
That's where
tournament.
the state championship was. I remember at the Colin Powell Center.
I remember playing fucking in Urban Stars in like 7th grade. I was playing Tyus Jones's little brother,
Really?
who was like,
Mm.
yeah, cause like
Who was at
he
the
was
time
like,
probably like 9 years old.
yeah, he was like 9 years old, and I remember like here it's so funny because people were like, bro, that's Tyus's little brother, and Tyus's was already like he was probably like a sophomore or freshman, like, you know, putting in work over I forget what school he went to, but it's just in high school or whatever. And I remember I was playing against his little brother, and his brother was literally like probably 9, and I was like 12. And I remember like locking him up and like doing well and be like, yeah, that's right. But in retrospect, it's like, no, you're playing someone who's 4 years younger than you. Like you shouldn't. You're playing a tiny child. Like you should not be proud. I was like,
be proud to lock up.
like talking shit to like a 9-year-old. Like, who do I think I am? You know, I'm
Yeah.
like fucking, you know.
Man.
Oh my god.
Wait. So Adrian's dad was our coach, right? And then
Yeah.
Right.
who was the
Remember the
assistant
spit
coach?
in his mouth?
Oh man.
He always had
spit-
in the corner.
always
of
had
his
spit in the
hallway.
corner of
He
his
would
mouth.
yell, and he would be like this.
Oh.
And it would
And I'd be
just
like,
form, it would just
And then just-
build up right here, and then he'd be like,
Right.
and then he'd be done. He'd be like, I'm like, oh, no.
The lip work that just happened right there was incredible.
You know what
incredible.
though? You know what was wild? There's a super dope like this program that takes college kids and then like have them actually do like good, meaningful community learning stuff with like people at the grassroots that are actually doing important work. And I met him like as I was 20, and he was the director of that organization. And I went to the graduation for that program, and he came up and gave the speech, and I was like,
Really? Did you talk
and then
to
we
him
talked afterwards, and he was like, no fucking way, shut the fuck up, Nick. And he like took a lap. He like circled around and came back, and he was like, for real? And I was like, yeah, coach. Yeah, coach, it's me. And he was like, man, that's crazy. You've really grown up. I was like, yeah, dude. Nice to see you again too. He looked the exact same. He looked exactly as I had remembered him when we were in 5th grade.
That's a nice story. I like that a lot.
He's dope though. He's really cool. He's really out here.
Mm-hmm.
He like do DJ sets. He'd tell me, he's like, oh yeah, I got a DJ set later or something. I was like, you do DJ sets?
You got a DJ set?
Damn.
And then,
Oh my god.
Cool.
TJ's dad was the guy that we were throwing alley-oops, and he was like our assistant. And then
Oh,
TJ's
okay.
mom
TJ's
would like get
dad.
us cookies and everything after every game, and that was always super lit.
I remember
TJ's
being on the
mom will
bench.
hook it up.
I remember being on the bench and like TJ, like it was the end of the game and like we were winning this game, and like TJ like kind of leans over to me. He's like, hey, my mom brought her cookies today. My mom got her cookies today, and I'm just like, let's fucking go, dude. Let's.
Dude,
It's
they were
a wrap.
good. There was like some wild shit for like the 5th grade palette.
I would just look and see because it would be right next to her. It would be right next, just sitting right next to her.
Yeah.
Fucking girl.
I remember getting so many stomach aches because I would run my fucking ass off for 2 hours, you know, and sometimes the whole day, and then just eat fucking 10 cookies. And then I'm like, oh, I don't feel good.
Sometimes-
And then get like a
sometimes I
Powerade and
wouldn't
a
even
taco
be-
in a bag.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wouldn't even be hungry for cookies, and my dad would be like, "Hey, grab me some," and I'd like go grab him some, and he'd be like, and he literally wouldn't take him. He like nudge me to go get some more. I would like handfuls of cookies.
No.
Yo, honestly, my dad was on some of that shit too. He'd be like, "Hey, grab an extra." Like, yeah.
I remember Bill was on that. Dude, Evan, I remember we would like fucking, we would do these tournaments and then we would go to your fucking house and drink like a gallon of chocolate milk each.
Oh man!
And the diets that we had back then is like a diet of a psychopath, you know, just like, just insane. Like, how are we not having diet? You do?
Oh yeah.
You're insane for that. I have one glass of milk. I'm having diarrhea.
My blood is chocolate milk.
Damn.
I can't stop drinking it.
You do like a blood transfer, and there's just like chocolate milk going in the IV, like coming out.
I swear, all that milk gave me like 2, maybe 3 extra inches, because like the doctor said I was supposed to be 6 foot.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, I remember
Shout out to Mount.
Evan hit his because Evan hit his growth spurt. Like I was like a super late bloomer, you know, like I didn't like grow till I was like a sophomore in high school. And Evan, you started probably growing like probably 6th, 7th grade. You started getting tall, and I remember like you started like growing and stuff like that. And I was like, man, dude, I don't know why I'm like so short. And being at your house, you'd be like, bro, you just gotta drink more chocolate milk. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. Maybe genetics just comes into play. Maybe, and you're like, no, bro,
Tommy.
Trust me. It's all like
Tell me you're not hitting the milk.
You're just
milk, bro.
I just remember you telling me, you're like, no, bro, it's all chocolate milk. And I'm just like, all right, I guess give me another glass. I'll have some more diarrhea, I guess, sure.
Incredible.
You're just like, or maybe it's because your dad's 6'6". Maybe that's place.
Probably that. Honestly, that probably makes a little more sense.
Oh my God.
I remember saying that. Oh, man.
That shit was so funny, man. God, being a kid ruled. You could just say anything, and then it was just like kind of a fact.
Okay.
Or just like do anything to your body.
Word.
You could just. If my friends told
Hope.
me anything, I would just be like, I guess that's kind of a fact now. Sure, why not? You know.
And the bummer was that I'd come back from eating shitty food at my dad's place. My dad just like did not know how to stock a fridge, and I'd be eating like the 8-inch DiGiorno personal pizza. And I was just like,
dude, those are so good.
Look back at that. Those are fire. Like, those are so just little ones you put in the microwave, you know. Those are that was like, and I like after a day of eating pizza at the concession stand, just come back and eat more pizza. It's just like,
bro, they fed us insane food when we were kids. They fed us insane diets.
It's the prices. The prices were so like, you could go there and a pizza could be like $1. It could be like $5, but you're still gonna get.
Wait, are you at like tournaments? You mean
at tournaments? Yeah.
Right, the prices varied.
It was
right,
but it was either way. It didn't matter. I'm grabbing what I need.
Yeah, I'm grabbing what I need. I'm gonna wolf it down in 30 seconds and go play my ass off in this championship tournament.
I'm gonna drink a Coke, a Powerade.
Have you guys ever had to run to the bathroom? Like run to the bathroom during a game?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh no.
I had to do that. Yo, I had to do that once, and our coach was like, "Yo, I'm actually gonna get you in the game here. Like, you sure you're okay?" And I'm like, "Coach, I'm gonna fucking shit on the court if you put me in right now. Like, I have to go to the bathroom."
Yeah. God damn. How long have we been going here?
I don't know. Let's. Did you guys come up with like the little like game thing that I sent like last week?
Did we come up with
the roster?
Yeah, like the little roster thing.
No, I completely forgot. Like last podcast, I did no preparation whatsoever. I barely even had headphones.
You're totally good. I think,
dude, that podcast was so funny.
Did you listen to it?
I did. Isaac sent me the link to it. That was so funny.
Yeah, I love talking about like rehashing like old like basketball.
I had heard nothing about that league that you guys played in. Nothing.
No way! You didn't know about what was going on?
Because he was busy playing real basketball.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Idea. Evan was in a real basketball league, and we were in a joke league.
You guys
for
literally
drunks.
just filled me in. It was so funny.
My god!
I think I would have definitely played, but Cook sat like Coach Cook because JMO and them were playing in it, and
right,
and Cook sat everyone down, all the teams. He was like, "You're kicked out. Like I'm kicking you out if you're playing in that league. Like you're playing with us."
Wow.
I was like literally about to do it. I was so
damn.
It was
because I want to. Yeah, I know it was really fun. I want to tell the story about the way how I lied to Evan about 2K, and to this day, it's the longest lie I've ever told in my life.
Yeah, go wild. We'll do that, and then I'll give my roster and have you guys kind of like riff off of that, and then I think that'll be a good close.
Do you want to do your roster first, and then I'll do the longest lie?
Sure.
Okay.
So I said like 5 kids. I feel like you want a sneakerhead kid or an accessory kid on your team that can just like tell you all the shoes, and you're like watching one of the older kids play. You're like, all right, that kid like that.
He's got these on. He's got those. Yeah.
Especially like when you're like a white kid in like 5th grade and you don't really know what's going on.
Wait, this is a roster. Is this just a roster for who would you have on your traveling basketball team now?
It's like people that would be at an AAU tournament. So like 5 stereotypes of a kid, like 1 coach, 1 type of ref that's at those like kid AAU things, and then 3 types of parents.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, I can come up with a couple. You do yours. I think I can come up with a couple.
Yeah, I think if we can just like riff as we go, it'll be good.
Yeah.
I have kid that eats all the concessions before the game and like horrible.
Mhm.
We
That's
already
right.
covered that. The irrational confidence kid that's shorter than everyone else. So that would have been Tommy for
That
us.
would have been
Yeah.
Wait.
No.
Just like the little short kid that
That'll
like
just-
will throw up 2 threes and it changes the whole game.
right.
And it's like,
who just
you-
like
you
won't
haven't-
go away. You're like this kid won't go away.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's like
no,
it
no
really
way.
explains
That's
why
bad.
I'm a stand-up comic now, because it's like I have no real talent, but like way too much confidence to pull off certain things, which are like really the
That's
building
perfect.
blocks in a comedian that you need. It's like no real actual skill, but a lot of confidence.
A lot of Tommy had some Tom. This is just quick, but Tommy had a jumping plan in 5th or 6th grade. It was a 15 or 16 week increase your vert by like 20 inches.
Like
And he
5
was- how
foot
many
Tommy
weeks
Bear
did
at
you
this
do? How many
point.
weeks? He did some weeks.
I did about 10 weeks. It was 16 weeks. I did 10 weeks.
16 weeks.
And I think it worked. I think it worked
Dude,
because
you
then when I
got some bounce. Like
when I hit puberty and everything, and like I finally came into my body, I could dunk on 10 feet, kind of. Not like a good dunk, but like senior year, I was
saw
like,
a dunk. I saw a dunk.
like a weak dunk, like a JMO dunk. You know?
Dunk.
Me and JMO could dunk the same amount, and that's I stand by that. No, yeah, I would like pull off crazy, just dumb shit like that. Just like, but I would tell Evan, I'd be in 5th grade, I'd be like, it's gonna increase my vert by 20 inches, and I'm gonna dunk by the end of the summer. And Evan's like, I think you should just drink chocolate milk. I think that's all you really need. Okay, I'm sorry, Isaac, if you're on that
No,
tangent.
you're good. I've got the kid that got into a car and drove off afterwards. So like the kid that everybody thinks is way older, or like when you're younger, like adjacent to that is the tatted kid, the first tatted kid.
Oh, when you're in like 8th grade and you're playing with someone with like one tattoo, and you're
And
like,
you're like-
is this guy a murderer? You know? Has
It's
this
just like,
man
oh
killed
shit, I'm
people?
growing up.
Like this is
Yeah.
this is LeBron I'm about to play.
Exactly. Exactly.
What about this kid? What about like the little brother or sister of somebody on the team? They're always rolling the ball on the court,
Yeah.
Oh,
and the refs
yo.
gotta blow the whistle and be like, "Get the ball!" And they're like,
Yes.
"Sorry," and then they like run
Did
away.
Mo have a little brother? I feel like Mo had a
Yes,
little sibling
yes.
that was always
His
at
name
the
was,
games. That was,
His name was Waziri.
Yeah.
yeah,
Lil
yeah,
Ziri.
that's right. That's right. Yes. Most family, man.
I saw him
They're
the other
cool.
day over at Layman's. It's right next to Annunciation, and
Mm.
he looks just like Mo. I thought it was Mo. I was gonna say like,
Bro.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
I
crazy.
saw Mo
Damn.
walking around that neighborhood too.
Really? He's
yeah.
Oh yeah, he would be back. It's summertime,
Yeah, so I saw him walking around, but it could be his little brother, maybe. I don't even know.
dude.
I was
it
like,
might have been. It might.
I was driving and I was like, "Holy shit, that's fucking Mo!" You know?
It might have been. It's crazy. Spitting in.
Yeah.
I got one for a referee.
Go for it.
I don't know what was up with these refs, but like all of them, I don't know, they like had varying degrees of friendliness, but there was one ref that was just like always trying to like have side talk when I like take out the ball or something, be like trying to have these like small like, so how are things going? I was just like, I don't know, it's like fine, I guess. It's just like playing a game. I like
Those
very
are those
distinct
refs,
mem-
man. Those are those refs you need to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
this is
know.
weird.
Those refs that just try to
Like-
shoot the shit like in between
Yeah,
plays
like
and shit.
Trying to hang out and be like, no, this is not. That's
Like,
not
bro,
this at all.
We're not cool right now, you know?
no, it's not your
Or
job,
those-
man.
Or I wouldn't say parents in the stand, but a person in the stand maybe that's like a ranker guy.
The coach,
Like-
Oh,
the like visiting
no.
guy,
Yes.
got like the clipboard and everyone's like whispering.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
some fucking boring white guy that works at AutoZone, and he probably has like such a lame fucking life. But like I'm in 5th grade, and I'm like, dude, he fucking recruits for Hopkins, and it's just like, who even fucking know? It's just like a bald white guy with a clipboard or some shit. You know?
But word got out.
Yeah.
Kind of back to refs. Do you guys remember the ref with the grills? Especially in the Catholic League, he would constantly ref those games, but he was like
Big
a
time.
celebrity for
Yes.
us.
Big time, bro.
Yes,
Big time.
absolutely.
In the
He was a star.
grills.
Yeah,
he-
big time.
Like
He
cold.
refed some other
gold.
traveling stuff, but he was like consistently in the Catholic leagues, like through like 5th through like 8th grade. Like we all knew him by
Yeah.
like 8th grade. We like dap him up and stuff. Like
Yeah. Yeah, because like we played for the team. Our team name was THC, like the Hoops Company, and it's like some dumb like weed joke that we were making in high school. And like he would come up to our bench, he'd be like, "Hey, I know you guys are smoking that loud," and it's like, "Yeah, dude, our name's THC. Like, what do you think? Like, of course we're high right now. Like, obviously."
Yeah, that was back when you were smoking, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm not smoking anymore, but I was smoking back in high school
on
when
the
I was
note of-
cool. When I was cool as hell.
as far as parents go, we talked about the like loud dad a little bit, like Mo's dad being like a hero.
Right.
I think it also like it hits different when it's a loud mom.
That's my mom.
Mm.
That's my mom.
Yeah, Evan,
Your
yeah,
mom.
Evan.
Yeah, your mom.
My
Evan.
mom.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, I could hear it. She's like the only voice I hear.
Absolutely.
And just
Besides,
like in general, like you're
Or-
used to hearing those old guys yell at like the refs and stuff like that, but like you get a distinct mom voice in there, like the whole
Right,
game
authority.
changes.
I feel like
Authority,
a loud
everyone.
mom is more intimidating.
Right.
Don't you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like? Because everybody has
Yeah.
like a loud dad. Like loud dads are so common. It's like, yeah, these guys are all loud idiots.
Yeah,
But like a loud
whatever.
mom at a game, you're just like, okay, if I mess up, this woman might kill me. I don't really know what's going
That just
on.
brings
You know?
that just brings that mom out, like that mom fear out. Like your mom, just like
Yeah, you're just kind of like you're shooken up a little bit. You know, you don't really know how to.
Yeah.
Like a loud dad, you're like, I get it, I got it. A loud mom, you're like, am I in
Yeah,
trouble? What's
whatever,
going on?
am I in trouble?
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
I say your
That's right.
mom too, Tommy. Your mom was
But here's the thing: your mom was loud and knew what she was talking about because my mom was just like upset, and she was like, "Hey," like she didn't like know how to really articulate it because she doesn't know sports as well as your mom. So it was like, so yes, they could have both been loud, but it was a different.
different loud.
It was a little different. Like your mom was like, "Hey," like making sense, just like, "Hey, that was offsides," and my mom's just like, "This is bullshit. The whole game is," and it's like, "What's bullshit about it?" And she's like, "I don't know. It's just bullshit." He's freaking out. Little more nonsensical.
Not necessarily during Southside, but Nick and I's dads during Catholic school games. Not necessarily when they were alone, but whenever they got together, they'd just kind of sit there and like it was more for each other than for anyone else.
Yeah.
But just be like,
Just amp each
"Hey,
other up.
ref."
They're like doing bits.
Yeah, like who could be the loudest and most obnoxious?
Yeah, that would be me if I was a
That's
dad.
what I'm gonna be. That's how I'm.
Honestly, that's like when I if I ever have children, hopefully they have a son that plays sports. I'm gonna be so obnoxious at those games.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full full Randy Marsh. I'm just gonna bring like a 6-pack to the game. It's gonna be 10 a.m. I'm gonna be cracking beers in like the Hopkins gym, and I'm just gonna like be kicked out of like a drunken disorderly, and like my kid's gonna be so ashamed, but it's gonna be good for him,
Worth it.
He'll
That's
need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to have kids, but I definitely want to coach like a number of youth basketball teams at some point in my life.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's fun.
Which is
man.
like the plot of so many movies, which is just like so many movies in like the late 90s were just like, what if a guy who like got in trouble with the law coached like a group of like ragtag like inner city kids in some sport, and we just gave him a bunch of children to supervise, and everyone's like, yeah, that'd be a great movie. Actually, it's a great movie plot.
There's this movie from like 1979, I think. It's called Fast Break. And it's about this dude that like is working at like a deli in New York or something, and like gets offered this job to coach a basketball team at this like school that doesn't have a basketball team. So he has to like recruit these guys, drive across the country to this thing and coach them at this like weird made up college.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And they do like a crazy, insane Super Troopers bit where they're all like high and like driving across the country. and the cops like are about to pull him over, and they all start like eating this like pound of like weed that they have.
To go find children for the basketball team.
Fast break.
No,
Amazing.
like he's hiring, like he's just like picking up ringers and like gamblers and stuff to play for this college basketball team that he's going to be coach.
Fast
That
break.
sounds like a
it's
great
called.
movie.
Yeah, fast break. It's really,
Dude,
it's like great.
we were gonna watch that. So it was white guys can't jump or white boys can't jump.
White
yeah,
men
white
can't
boys
jump.
can't jump.
White
White-
boys can't jump. What's that movie?
Love and or He Got Game.
Coach Carter.
It's the Denzel Coach Carter.
He Got Game.
No,
No,
not
He Got
Coach
Game.
Carter.
No,
It's not Coach
Denzel.
Carter.
No,
Actually,
Denzel. Oh,
He Got Game is the one with Ray Allen and Denzel.
bro, I love
Yep,
that fucking
He
movie.
got game. He got game. White boys can't jump and fast break. We were gonna watch riding up to like, it was a South Side. It was like Jake Wright's Cabin. We were gonna watch one of those three. So we were gonna watch a weed smoking some type of
It's
movie.
an outrageous movie. It's very
And we
crazy.
didn't end up watching it, but that would have been crazy. We wouldn't know what was going on.
Bro, Evan, we should watch that. We should watch that movie together,
Let's watch it.
and then come back on the podcast and talk about the movie.
And
I'll
talk
do
about
a
the
fast
movie.
break pod for
yeah.
sure.
Do a fast break, like rehash the movie fast break. We all watch it. And we
that
all-
is not.
Actually,
Um,
we should.
I
We
was
all
about to
link
watch.
up, social distance, and like a deck somewhere. We get a TV going, and then we get super high and watch fast break, and then we rehash
I'm there.
it on the pod.
It sounds like a great time.
That's my
I'm there.
plan.
Hey man, if you guys
Do
can
that
make it
background
happen
and
back
stuff.
there in Minneapolis, I will Skype in for it.
Yeah, I'm in California right now.
Oh yeah,
actually.
yeah, that's real. That's fair.
So Evan, I can't golf
What?
tomorrow. Yeah, dude, I went to California for a month to surf. I'm not even
To
playing right
surf?
now.
You can't
I'm
even
not-
surf.
Bro, you're such a. I'm gonna
You
kill
can't
you,
surf. Dude, you know how
bro.
much balance you need? You don't have that
Bro,
much
I'm
balance.
surfing well. I can surf. Not only can I surf, I
Tommy,
can
you
surf
don't
well.
have it in you. I've seen people that have it for surfing, and it's
You guys are okay. Let me say something. You guys are pissing me off. Let me just say that. You guys are fucking pissing me off right now. So yeah, I
Man,
can't
you better
golf
stay
tomorrow.
away from those sharks, though. But you can't golf tomorrow. That's okay.
Bro, I saw I was swimming near a bunch of dolphins today.
Yo, Tommy,
Rip.
hit your Evan Lyon story.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is the longest lie I've ever told. So it's probably like fifth grade. So it's probably we're all playing on the same Southside team, and obviously what we kind of been talking about throughout this pod is that like Evan was our player, like he was the guy, you know. But like I was super competitive with Evan because like I mean I think I was like starting at that time. I was a good player myself, but like not the star, you know, not like the guy, not the go-to player, you know. I was just like a point guard, you know. So I was always like super competitive. Me and Evan would play one-on-one all the time. I'd always want
All
to
the
beat
time.
him. You know, we'd play one-on-one constantly, you know. And but you'd always win, obviously. But it, you know, so Evan one day after
it was
practice,
close though. It would be close though.
we had some good games back in the day. You know, I'm not saying I wasn't bad. I was good. I was a good player, but I mean, you were the guy, obviously.
Right.
So, anyways, so Evan one day after practice, we're talking about like 2K, and Evan's just like, you know, and our like relationship, we're just always kind of like talking shit, like minorly, you know. So Evan's just like, bro, I'll bust your ass in 2K, and I'm just like. And I've never even played 2K. Like I don't know how to play 2K. And so he's like, I'm like, bro, you won't bust. I'll fucking crush you in 2K. Like you can't even see me in 2K. And then Evan's just like, all right, bet. Like, do you have a PlayStation? Like, and I was like, yeah, I think I actually had like 2K7 at the time. You know, it's like 2007. So
no,
like he
it
comes.
was because Boston was really good because they had just won.
Yeah,
And then
so
they
they had
were
like
in 06.
Garnett and Pierce and like the whole Celtics team.
Yep.
And so Evan comes over and, you know, the whole time I'm like, fuck, I've talked all this shit about 2K. I don't know how to play 2K really. I don't know how I'm going to beat him.
I came
And
ready
two-
too.
You came ready and you were like, you know, maybe you weren't the best 2K player, but like you played before. Like you knew what to do.
Yeah.
And but I talked so much shit on this game. So I'm setting up the game and I don't know if Evan doesn't notice this, but
I had no idea.
he doesn't notice this. What I do is I put Evan versus just the PC, like the computer on advanced mode. And Evan, for the whole game, he's just playing against the computer, and I'm pretending to play the whole entire time.
I'm getting
So-
my ass whooped. I'm
Because
like,
it's on advanced
like
mode.
I already
like,
do this. I already do this. You know, where you sit up and it's like you're really playing, and then
Yeah.
it's like I was
right. So, and here's the funniest part is that when it's two people playing, like, you know, the circle is under the avatar figure, you know, to show that like someone's controlling it. There's no circles under any of my players at this time. It's just it couldn't be more obviously like against the computer, like the way I'm playing, how mechanical it all is. You know,
You're like one of those kids in like a 2000s like TV show that's like half holding like a controller like this.
Yeah. I mean,
literally.
I'm just doing the whole like pretending like the like clearly not playing a video game. Anyways, I fucking beat Evan
I've
by like
never
40
been
points.
more like
Or I
shook.
don't.
I've never been more shook. Like,
But the
in my
computer
life.
does. Computer beats Evan, and then Evan's just like, "Damn, dude, like you
Mind
fucking."
blown.
He was mind blown, and he was just like, and Evan was just earnestly like a good sport about it. He was just like, "Damn, you really like messed me up in 2K. I guess you are really good." And I was like, and my ego at the time was like yeah, I am that good. You know what I mean? Like my ego was just out of control as an 11-year-old or whatever.
Wow.
And so then fast forward to like years later, it's like sophomore year of high school.
Yes.
And we go over to Toma's house. And I think like everyone's chilling at Toma's. Maybe people are smoking a little bit. I don't know. It's like sophomore, junior year in high school. And people are playing 2K. And Evan's like, "Hey, man." I like step in the room and Evan's like, "Hey, man, you don't even want to see Tommy in 2K right now. Like, he'll bust any of y'all in 2K." And I was like, "What?" And he's like,
Just
"Yeah,
assuming
bro."
that he's kept this skill up for years, right? Like,
Well, I completely forgot about the lie. And then Evan's just like, "Yeah, bro, Tommy's the coldest at 2K. Like, he'll fucking bust any one of you." And I was like, oh fuck. Like I remembered, I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, this is what happened. I lied. Like I set it up with the computer." And then Evan was
that lie.
and Evan
it for years.
Evan just like got up and he was just like blown away. Just like everything I knew about you as a good 2K player, it's a lie. It's the whole thing. And I'm like, "I'm sorry for lying, man. I really
laughed for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I thought it was so funny.
I was salty about it. I was like, I don't know why I was salty about it.
I mean, we weren't really
like,
we were like
because I
joking.
technically was. Yeah, I don't know why, but I was. I was like, fuck. Like,
well, because I lied to your face. I didn't tell you the truth for 5 years. That's why you had every right to be salty and mad at me. I told a direct
no, because
lie.
I literally told everyone. I was like, I was like, dude,
Like, yo, there's this kid.
I'm like, you were not fucking with my friend Tommy at 2K. I said,
I mean, I beat you by like an obscene amount. You know, it was like 40 points.
dude, yeah, bro.
I
played Hall of
didn't,
Fame.
but
we played Hall of Fame and you killed me. I told everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So that's the longest lie I've ever told about playing Evan in 2K. That I'm coming clean. I've been coming clean with it ever since.
Amazing.
But I had a good run with the lie.
Yeah,
Incredible.
that was a good run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other Southside things to say, or I can start letting you go here?
No, I don't actually. But
Yeah, I'm cool.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah.
Fun.
If you guys want to like
Fun.
plug Twitter, Instagrams, Nick, like the farm, Tommy, like your podcast, etc., feel free to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for having us on, Isaac. And yeah, if anyone's listening, I got a podcast going on called We Cool. So yeah, check that out. It's a fun time.
We Cool.
Yeah, it's called We Cool. It's where me and two other comedians, we just like apologize for things that we've done and said in the past. So I've like, for example, I've actually apologized for the 2K thing on the podcast before.
You did.
But
Yeah.
not to Evan.
You need it.
No, no.
But Evan had no idea.
I would never do it directly to his face, okay? My ego would never let me do that. Yeah, but check that out, I guess.
No, yeah,
Evan, do you have anything to plug?
No, man. I don't have any social media. I don't have anything. I have a phone. So
Hit me
Tell
up.
us.
My number is 612.
Put your number in the chat.
So hit me up. But,
Yeah, so
but,
yeah, in the link below we'll have Evan's number, and you can just
Right.
text him anything you want.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. This was fun as hell.
Yeah.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
Glad we made it work. You're a hero for running out during a curfew, getting fake headphones, and coming back.
Oh yeah, I took this.
Yeah, bro.
Insane.
What a king.
Nick, you want to plug your thing?
Yeah. If you want to get involved with farming at all in Polk County, Wisconsin, or in the Twin Cities, and you want to eat fresh food, hit me up. Farm food in the Twin Cities metropolitan area, or if you want to come be a farmer, that's cool too. Also follow at Whetstone Farm as well. And what is my Instagram name? My Instagram name is Educate to Liberate, and it's Nicholas Butler Knighton. We're organizing Food for the People program, so we donate fresh farm food to Twin Cities BIPOC community members. So if you want to donate and get people food, that's cool too, and that's in my Instagram bio.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, Nick. You'll definitely be on future episodes. I will let you know about a Southwest one if it's gonna happen.
All right, peace out, guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Peace and blessings.
I'm getting out of here later.
Look deep into the 2K crystal ball.
So let's move on. Let's go back to Killian Hayes here. I do a goofy thing. I play 2K mainly like as a simulator, like an engine to simulate or like generate teams with young prospects for me. So like I add 6 teams. So there are 36 teams in the league. It thins out the talent a little bit. I do a fantasy draft to like really thin it out. And then I simulate 2 years. So I get this year's draft and next year's draft as however accurate as the draft guys. And then me editing it based on listening to all these podcasts and stuff and then I like make 36 different lineups full of these young prospects and stuff.
So where are the 6 additional teams?
There you can like create do that, but it like takes a little bit longer to load all of those individually. So I'm lame and just do like older versions of teams with good jerseys. Like I throw in the old Wolves,
Gotcha.
like old Jazz, old the Sonics because there isn't a Sonics, the New Jersey Nets, old Raptors with the Raptors jerseys, and like the 2001 76ers for those like black and gold, or like the 06 Wizards. I mix it up sometimes there, but those are like the favorites. But yeah, so we've got 3 different lineups here, 3 different rosters that 2K generated that have Killian in them. So we got the first one here. This one's kind of fun. We got Killian, Jalen Green, Josh Richardson, Jason Tatum, and Jared Allen as the starting 5. You got Nerlens Noel, Thon Maker, TJ Leaf, and Alonzo Trier on the bench. How do we feel
Leaf
about
still
this?
in the league.
Still in the league, apparently.
UCLA legend TJ Leaf. I think that's an interesting team. You have a lot of shot creation on that team. Killian and Tatum is a wonderful fit. Jalen Green's going to put a lot of pressure downhill. Josh Richardson's low usage, and as is Afro. Like you got a lot of good young players that fit together. The bench is pretty whatever, but that's as far as benches go.
So yeah, talked about so Killian's kind of like a third option here. How do you see that?
Oh, I think he's 2. I mean, I think that
He's 2 over Green.
Yes, because he can dribble, which is Green's issue. because Green can't really initiate offense like that. His handle's pretty herky-jerky and can get pressured. I think that you'd run a lot of DHOs with Killian and Tatum. You'd want to be motion heavy just to get Green on islands.
You kind of get like Green and Richardson slashing off ball.
Yeah, that'd be the idea. And then depending on how real Green's senior season shooting improvement is, you couldn't help off of him. So then that gives Tatum a lot of room to operate. I mean, that's an incredibly fun team.
Definitely. That's kind of like how it usually shakes out. Like, you get more young players because it's thinned out. I'll like sack guys that I don't like watching play as much or like know what the deal is. I want to be like hypothesizing the whole time while I'm thinking about how these teams are going to play. So let's go to team number 2. We got Colin Sexton, Lonzo Ball, Will Barton, Darius Baisley, Noah Vonleh, and then off the bench we have Killian, Keldon, Goga, and BJ Boston. You can switch up lineups here however you want. You can like start whoever you want. You can play basketball god essentially because it's 2K and there are no rules.
This is a very interesting team. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one to start out.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea of Keldon and Baisley kind of like splitting time at the 4 and just like really attacking dudes defensively. I think Goga is like a fun spacing option, but Vonleh's probably like the defense or like anchor / like veteran presence that you need on defense there. So he's starting, or I had him starting. I like the idea of Killian coming in and covering for either of those lead guards and providing like more of a scoring punch or more of a facilitating punch if you need to take out Lonzo or take out Sexton. And then like Barton, Boston kind of feels like a little bit of a wash. Barton just because he's older and probably better at D than rookie season Boston.
Yeah, see, I would want to figure out a lineup where you can get BJ, Killian, and Lonzo on the floor at the same time.
So Sexton, you could do Sexton as like a Lou Williams type.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's best for all the parties involved because that would also give Sexton breathing room to eat a whole bunch of usage. And Lonzo and Killian is 2 good passers, and Killian and BJ can create rotations so that Lonzo can pick them apart. And they both have plus ball handling, so you don't need Lonzo to do that. Like that's an almost perfect Lonzo alignment. I mean, he'd probably need a little more help over top, but if Goga develops, you have some rim protection there. That's definitely, I don't know if that'd be a good team, but that would be a damn fun team. Well, it's not.
Definitely. How do you feel about Goga in general? I was a big Goga guy last year, and he hasn't really had a shot, I feel like.
Do we know why he wears number 88? I don't know. I am simply asking. I just have, a normal amount of concerns.
Yeah, I didn't even, hadn't seen him on the floor enough to even think about that. Yeah, fair. Let's move on to the next team. This one's also another crazy fun one I think you'll enjoy. We got Kyle Lowry, Killian Hayes, Josh Okogie, Scotty Barnes, and Nikola Vucevic. On the bench, you've got Dozier, Jared Vanderbilt, Darius Baisley again, apparently, Tarian Prince, and Jalen Noel. Tarian Prince and Jalen, I don't think I gave minutes, but wanted to give you more options for shooters.
I mean, it's interesting because you got Vando and Scotty, 2 guys who are sort of cut from the same archetype. Scotty has a little bit more mobility. If you played both of them at the same time, you would literally get every single rebound. The idea of Lowry and Killian is super fun because as Lowry ages, he's just going to be a trebuchet from 36 feet away. And
it's going to be a really fun part of his career.
Oh my God. And he's going to go full absolute shit heel because he's not going to be he's going to need to do.
He's going to need to really Chris Paul it up.
Oh, 100%. And, who knows where his weight goes. There's so many fun dynamics to him being an old fire hydrant.
Yeah. Would you mess around with the lineup with that at all? Or
I mean, I think that lineup's fine. I would probably tinker just to get smaller. I think with Scotty, you have so much concerns about his jumper that you need to maximize as many shooters as you can get on the floor.
Do you think Scotty's eventually going to be able to play 5?
Yes. Yeah, I think Scotty needs to be able to play 5.
That's super exciting, given that he's going to be playing point guard next year.
Yeah, starting at point guard. There are literally no other point guards on the roster. I've never been more excited for a team than next year's Florida State because its 2 best players are going to be Scotty Barnes and Raekwon Gray, two beloved big guys who love to dribble.
Talk to me about Raekwon Gray. I haven't heard much on him.
Okay, so Raekwon Gray is like he's built like a fullback, but he's 6'7". He's like extremely good value Zion, dollar store Zion, if you will, and that he loves to dribble. Like he's a dribble, pass, and shoot, like big bodied, like wing. But
okay,
he's,
yeah.
But the dribble, pass, and shoot aren't to the level that he thinks it is. But he's also like ultra high energy. So you get this like extreme. Like I hesitate to use the word adorable because I don't want to infantilize. Like he's an extremely good. Like his numbers are actually like really fun, and he's has some really good tape. But like he does things where I'm like, big man, you can't really think that you were going to split this double team between 2 guards. And he's like, oh, I will. We'll go chest to chest with anybody. Like up there with Yves Pons in terms of just like ridiculous fun.
Hell yeah.
And he's going to like have a whole bunch of space to attack. It's going to be glorious.
It is wild that we are sitting on a very fun season of college basketball that maybe won't happen or whatnot. I'm not a big college guy generally, and I'm very excited for a lot of different guys.
Yeah, we also have Tennessee, which is legitimately going to turn out the most fun basketball team that the SEC has maybe ever seen.
People flying around. That's like having Aerodactyl and Flygon on your team at the same time.
I mean, like Keon Johnson was going to attempt sky murders. That's just part of who he is. Yves Pons is the largest human being to have ever existed.
The weight room photo is
every
terrifying.
single year, Yves Pons develops a new muscular group. Not like he gets stronger at it, like he invents one. Like looking at like high major Division I athletes next to Yves Pons, just like look at this fucking scrub. Oh my God, this guy. And if you saw him in any other circumstance, you'd be like, that's one of the most jacked people I've ever seen in my entire life. But next to Yves Pons, like who lives an extremely cast of the predator lifestyle. Everybody just looks like a schlub. And then they have Malachi Wideman, who's like an extremely good football player who moonlights as a guy who loves to dunk on people. There's so much fun at Tennessee.
It's gonna be a good time.
It's a weird, like I don't necessarily enjoy a lot watching college basketball because it's a lot of 6-on-6, which I find to be tremendously boring and not really helpful for anyone's development for the most part. The idea that like Rick Barnes had his second act where he decided like I'm just going to let him play and I'm going to get a whole bunch of athletes and we're going to have fun is one of the funnier reinventions of a guy.
Completely wild.
And like I would like college basketball to be interesting just because I love the like there's a thing that happens in college football where like people just know things about small areas. Like Foley, Alabama, it just creates Viking people. There's no explanation for it. Every person from Foley, Alabama is goddamn scary. It's just life. And basketball has a few of those. Like everybody knows that people from Seattle, for whatever reason, are given the ability to shift anyone in front of them, and that you don't
Jamal Crawford thing.
Yeah. Kevin Porter Jr. It doesn't make any sense when you see how big he is in person. You're just like, how can you move like that? And then you have like small elements, like people from Kinston, North Carolina. Don't try to fight them. Don't try to out-tough them. It will go very poorly. And I like when college basketball is good because you just learn like these little areas where they have reputations you didn't know about.
It's lore building.
Yeah. Like everyone from upstate New York can shoot the shit out of the ball. Is there any explanation for it? Not particularly. It's just one of the like it feels very much like when you wander into a corner of the map in an RPG. Definitely. And you're like, these people are good at this. You're like, why? You're like, they just are. It's like, these are the Kinston, North Carolinians. Do not try to fight them.
or like join the strength guild in.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird that the one year that we don't get might be the one fun year. Like even Gonzaga was going to be fun, and I like generally can see like Gonzaga is generally just like strangulation.
Yeah.
It's not a fun fight to watch. Like they're better than you. They had the best college basketball player of like the last 10 years in Killian Tilly. Granted, he played like, a total of 40 minutes, but Killian Tilly's stats are mind numbing.
Yeah, Suggs is fun. Minneapolis boy.
Suggs is fun. Anton Watson is going to be fun. They got Ballo, who's going to be like, they have a whole bunch of Drew Timme, a very fun player to watch. Watching Mark Few try not to play him was one of my favorite subplots of the year.
So we can start wrapping up here. I'm going to go back to those teams for just a second because I don't release like the video thing of this, but I do throw a version on YouTube. And I normally just, as the visual, throw on these 2K teams playing a different team in the background. So if you have a favorite team or two, because I think a favorite two of these or of these three Killian teams.
I would say the Lonzo team and the Lowry team.
Lonzo team and the Lowry team. No love for Jalen Green and Tatum.
I think it's interesting, but it's not. It's just going to be a lot of Tatum shooting off the dribble threes, where the other two are a little more ball movementy, and less Jason Tatum being a superstar.
Super fair. So the last sort of thing I normally do on this podcast, because it's the high and dry, I've finished whatever substance I've been doing. I've been kind of like sucking on this dab pen here. And I look deep into the 2K crystal ball. I've got a dumb noise sting I'll play.
The 2K crystal ball.
And I try and come up with some dumb prediction about like NBA futures or some like addition to the game or like the game's culture in some ways. I kind of got, I feel like I've said this on like 4 podcasts now, but I got inspired by a no dunks question where somebody was like, instead of doing jump balls, we should just like install like little air cannons that like come out of the ground and like shoot it up into like the same spot every time. So we'd like solve jump balls. And I'm like, that sounds cool. Like I'm here for more theatrics. I'm a big like theater guy. Like I like the Houston Rockets did like the red carpet thing a little bit for like coming in. I don't know. So I'll give you like a minute here. I'm going to run, grab some water, and we'll come back with our 2K crystal ball predictions or things we'd like to see.
Okay.
All right. I've gazed deep into the 2K crystal ball and thought deeply about what I'd like to see. And I don't know, I was thinking about how like the Lakers were posting like Instagram stories and whatnot of like the Madden record, like in the hotel, like the Hotel Madden like tournament or whatever that they were having. And it would be so easy to do like, I don't know. I feel like I've only seen like official like Twitch like NBA player content from the guys that are like big Call of Duty nerds and are teaming up with those big things. But it'd be so easy for one of them to just like go on IG Live and like commentate a Madden game between like LeBron and AD. Like I would love to see that. I'd love to see the guys going wild. Yeah,
I would love to see a game between hecklers and NBA players.
That should be like a booth at All-Star. Like,
yeah,
the 2 youngest All-Stars should have to go like take challenges from people yelling at them for like 2 hours, and that should be part of All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, like the idea of you couldn't beat me with me is very compelling to me. So like you're only allowed to, like, if you heckle somebody, you can only use them, and the player gets to use whoever they want to. Because there's nothing, I don't think there's anything worse than losing to yourself in a video game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's, it's all pride at that point.
100%. And you get to see like truly conflicted emotion. It's like, oh, I was hooping, but also like I lost.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like also another thing, I feel like I was talking about this on another pod, but, they were like showing all the little like practice shots like while they're advertising for like games and stuff. I want to see the practice footage. Like I want the 30 for 30 footage now. Like, you know, like I want to pay for the practice that the Jazz had the night before getting knocked out by the Nuggets, you know? Let's monetize it. Fix League Pass with the money from that.
That fixed League Pass with literally anything. So my first one is like sort of an evergreen thing. You brought up All-Star Weekend, and it's something that like I think we need to settle actual debates at All-Star Weekend. Like the idea of who's the fastest is the best All-Star event we could possibly have.
Just like little mini Olympics.
Yeah, like you get the opportunity. Like I don't know how you would decide it, but people who get to put out challenges where it's like, okay, so I'm the fastest person. I challenge these 5 people, mini event. Like expand the skills portion to include actual basketball skills. Like I would like to see like people shoot like, we'll say like 40 footers. Just like Dame, Kyle Lowry, like catch and shoot 40 footers, shoot 10. Next person goes. You could have an actual vertical contest. Like there are real basketball elements that could be solved. And instead of having these like, who do you think's the fastest player in the NBA? Let's go to second spectrum. It's like, nope. Let's go turn on. Well, you can turn on Saturday skills, and we get to watch people actually have this competition. The shoe market companies can get behind it. The players will obviously like actual competition is good. You cannot tell me that John Wall doesn't want to win that. Like De'Aaron Fox would want to do that. Like things that aren't like, oh, you know, we both win. It's the best of the game. Like, no, I want like dudes who legitimately don't like each other. Like I want to see who can actually touch the top of the backboard.
Oh yeah.
Like these are the things that I would watch on Saturday night. And instead it's like the 3-point competition, which has nothing to do with shooting.
And just like the folk legends that would arise when like Shaq Harrison comes out of nowhere to like bench Shaq. Like
yeah, like actual competitions about basketball skills Saturday night. This doesn't seem that hard to like
lamest Taco Bell obstacle course.
Oh my God. It's just like guards either do what they're supposed to, or you like celebrate a big like doing a thing. It's just not realistic.
And it's like it's literally just the worst kind of spawn con. It's not even like fun theatrical, like it's not even like knockout or like
no. And that leads me to like my other like actual basketball thing, which is that we need to have one-on-one competition again. Okay, but everyone goes about this in sort of the wrong way. It's the same like 5-person thing. The same, but you do it same king of the court way. 5-second shot clock, 3 dribbles.
Yeah,
but you go by spots. Like, you know how they have the little maps where it's like, this person's the best shooter from this area. You pick 5 areas. The people who shoot best from there get the title, like get to compete, and you just roll them out. Like featuring from Synergy, the 5 best shooters from 18-foot left block. You roll those 5 dudes out. You give them a shot clock. You got a 5 next spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. I think if there is another lockout thing going on, post bubble in the face of COVID and whatnot, real opportunity for a lot of these sort of like pay-per-view basketball things to rise up. Like how much would everybody pay? Like if players are locked out, like how much would everybody pay for like tape of 2 guys doing it, like going one-on-one at the Harlem or like, you know,
it's not even like how much realistically would you pay for like we'll say like an hour and a half of footage of Olympic 101?
Oh, like probably $250. Like
that's like it's just an hour of like Paul George versus Devin Booker versus KD versus Anthony Davis versus Jason Tatum, and they're just rolling the ball out like a small dribble amount. Like that is something that everyone would like to do, and it like there's a thing that happens with like these events where like everybody just like smiles. It's like whatever. Like no, you mic that up. You ask Devin Booker what it felt like to eat a 16-foot step back. He's gonna have some opinions.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. I feel like, I don't know, High Flying Bird kind of like pitches that. It's like Netflix movie. I don't know if it's a great movie, but it says all the like, you know, actually players could make a lot of money off of themselves, you know, and like, you know, we all know that, but it's nice to see it in a movie.
Yeah, this goes back to my like G League opinion that the best thing you can do when you sign a pro contract is just start an Instagram account and just upload like 2 dunks. Like it's the easiest money in the entire world, and nobody ever is like, well, how are these kids going to make money off the NCAA? Like, one, there's obviously money, but two, it's like there's a whole bunch of people who are begging to like watch a kid dunk and then look into the camera and be like, wheat thins.
Yeah, no, like for real. I would also like watch a show with an NBA player just like taking guys like that are on like the edge of like pro, semi-pro and getting them professional opportunities. That's a fun thing. I'd pitch that.
There's a number of things that the NBA could do to fill up like NBA TV and League Pass with content, but they don't. NBA TV and League Pass are both like wonderful entities that deserve to be filled with legitimate like basketball.
And not like send people to YouTube or like Reddit streams that do the job better.
I would love to pay for NBA TV and League Pass and get like every cent of my money's worth. And instead of like hours of actual basketball philosophy or, you know, game breakdowns or a look into this like world, it's like replays of things that were filmed in 2008 where they show like how Dwight Howard likes candy. It's hard to take the NBA seriously at times when they're like, they're like, oh, we love our social facing content. It's like, I can't give you money for the things I want because you refuse to make them.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a whole bureaucratic red tape, whatever nonsense. And I'm sure players feel like they're more protected by having less out. But I think there is a looming thing coming, especially with the lockout potentially looming and COVID forcing a lot of reckonings, we'll put it that way. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for going along with me here. Do you want to plug any of your stuff again? And if you've got like a charity or a cause or anything that you'd like to highlight, feel free to throw that out. Thank you so much for coming on High and Dry, man.
Thank you. You can find me on Twitter at above the break 3. In my Twitter bio is the link to all my Patreon breakdowns. Of course, they're all free. The money is just if you want to support my purchasing of overseas video packages or stats to try to make this information more available. If you'd like to pay $5 a month, you can get my gimmicky and fun breakdowns of players or Pokemon as NBA players or a tabletop RPG set in a directional Eastern European country where you try to make your league not go bankrupt. If you would like to donate to a charity, Newark does not have clean water. There are many charities that help that cause, and it is essential work.
Well, thank you so much again, PD, for coming on. Really go check out the Patreon because all the info is really great there. If you've got a few bucks to spare, definitely worth it. Thank you for listening to this episode of High and Dry. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, on Twitter and Instagram at High Dry Draft Pod.
Thank you so much. That was really fun.
Thank you.
Getting any bigger.
Yeah, and the work they've done at the line has been impressive here in the second half.
Sonics leading by 5. Now here's Hayes. Pass to Vucevic. Fires the 3.
It's been a clinical performance. He's played a huge role and has them in position to grab the W.
Here's Alexander Walker. While recovering, releases from 15. Barnes grabs the miss. And it's Barnes with the ball for the Seattle Supersonics. They've held a 12-point lead earlier. Pass to Okogie. The kick out to Barnes. That 3 off the mark.
Not his best game, but they're still getting it done collectively.
Williams trying to break free. That one drops for him. Levine's got 50 points.
He's ramped up his game in a big way this quarter. I don't think he likes it when they're trailing.
Passes it to Vucevic. Back to Lowry. Barnes outside. 5 on the clock. The tray. No good there. Now the Grizzlies take it the other way.
And really, they've rebounded well all game long.
Here's Williams. Offensive rebound. Vucevic with the block. Here's Okogie. The kick out to Barnes. Outside Lowry. Releases. And right on target with the swish. Lowry's got 16 points here in the second half.
Well, with the role he's on this quarter, they're going to keep going to him and get that lead even bigger.
Here's Levine. He can't hit that time. Great D that time from Vucevic. Okogie, the pass to Barnes. Lowry can't get it to go. The Grizzlies trail by 8. In the corner, it's Hunter. From downtown, Barnes grabs the miss. Barnes has got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. Now Hayes. 1:56 left to play here in the 4th. Bucket is good.
Well, sometimes you don't need a haymaker, just a jab. You got to get those easy looks inside.
Now here's Levine. Not a lot of room. Good D by Barnes.
And the activity he shows around the rim is why he is such a respected defender.
Yeah, you can see why he's established that reputation. Strong understanding of how to defend at the rim.
Count that bucket.
That's just great touch. The teardrop, well, that's all about feel.
Here's Levine, and he lays it straight in. Levine's got 52 points.
And shots like this one, it gets Levine going. I mean, he loves showing off that big boy muscle on these contact finishes.
Back to Vucevic. 1:03 left here in the 4th quarter. Down low, shoots. And there's the whistle. 3-second violation.
Yeah, with no defensive pressure at all, you've got to be able to make that exchange.
Now a timeout called by Memphis. They're trailing by 10. 52 seconds left in the 4th quarter. .52 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Alexander Walker passes to Hunter. Now here's Levine. He's tightly guarded. The pass to Hunter. Takes the 3. Rebound by Kyle Lowry. They're in good position here to ride it out.
Certainly, if they just play smart, this game's over.
But the D didn't do a good enough job on him. He can be an ace when he gets a good look at 3.
Here's Levine. Nails the 16-footer. Levine's got 54 points.
It's encouraging whenever Levine connects from mid-range. I mean, he's showing he wants to get better from there.
Barnes outside. Back to Lowry. Lets it go from 14. So no problem for Seattle as they get the win. Even early on in this one, it seemed like they were happy to be playing tonight.
It makes a big difference once they started to really play in rhythm. You never felt like they had any doubts as to whether or not they were going to win.
And that's it tonight, folks, for our broadcast. Greg Anthony, Chris Webber, and David Aldridge. This is
Mike.